Welcome to the webinar about gaining business resiliency and accelerating innovation with SAP on Azure Cloud. I'm your host, Pankaj Prasoon, Director with Infosys, responsible for our S4HANA and SAP on Azure globally. When we think of digital transformation, there are three imperatives. Number one, enabling enterprises to gain agility when it comes to market dynamics. Number two, innovation at scale. And number three is ability to provide security mechanisms for a comprehensive need. And all of these three together hinge around cloud. To accelerate this journey of the enterprises towards cloud, we at Infosys launched Infosys Cobalt, a set of services, solutions, and platforms that act as a force multiplier to accelerate the enterprise's journey towards cloud transformation. It helps enterprises redesign to be responsive, to act according to the market needs, to accelerate speed to market, to accelerate and fuel innovation within the enterprises, and provide a comprehensive set of security mechanism from a single point of accountability. As the world comes closer towards a crisis of COVID-19 to fight this pandemic and support the effort for business continuity, resiliency, and accelerate innovation, we at Infosys have partnered with SAP and Microsoft to help enterprises gain efficiencies and agility across all these areas. The Infosys Innovate for Embrace program, as part of Infosys Cobalt, is an initiative which is helping clients to invest in purposeful innovation and build truly differentiating intelligent enterprises. If we look at recent JP Morgan 2020 study for cementing cloud and digital superpowers, Microsoft is right at the top as the IT mega vendors on which the CXOs community is betting on. And it doesn't come as a surprise because it's very crucial and indispensable for the needs of the enterprises. Now, whereas when we look at the SAP ecosystem, the buzz of the market is SAP S4HANA. So S4HANA and cloud actually have converged into a single conversation, as cloud is no longer an operational momentum, it is actually a business imperative. So today, we are going to discuss about key trends and what decision a CXO needs to make his enterprise more resilient, to take and embrace the journey towards S4, and understand how Infosys and Microsoft have partnered together to help realize this journey for customers, right? Today, I have the luxury and privilege of being joined by Ceska from Microsoft. Chris is an SAP solution leader in Microsoft's SAP in Azure Global Black Belt team. He comes with a lot of experience on the functional, technical, as well as the infrastructure side when it comes to running SAP on Microsoft Azure, and with a wealth of knowledge about guiding, advising, and actually migrating customer out to SAP on Azure. So thanks, Chris, for joining in. And without wasting much time, I want to first deeper dive into the very first topic about, based on your conversations with CXOs, what are the key challenges and key imperatives which you're seeing for CXOs to embark on the journey towards cloud?
No, thanks for having me. No, I'm glad to be here. First, let me congratulate Infosys on winning the SAP award in the Philippines and being a finalist for SAP on Azure globally. Great work there. To answer your question, I've seen it all. We've seen really just about any scenario you can imagine, all having different challenges. But I think with where we're at right now with COVID-19 and everything else, customers are really trying to navigate the now. It's a lot different now. Remote everything, and they're looking for solutions that remove a lot of friction and help people stay productive, become more productive if they're remote. Get factories back operational. All sorts of investments are going on there. They're also taking advantage of the time to plan for the future. I think a lot of, at first things slowed down a little bit, but now in a lot of cases, customers are really trying to get to the cloud faster, trying to enable new innovations and optimizing their investments so that they can really shape the future. Realizing new opportunities, breaking down some barriers. I see this a lot with data, and I see customers trying to of course, they're going to take care of the infrastructure thing because there's things like just modernizing aging infrastructure, getting out of colo, improving some operational capacity there. But really, when it comes down to data, the opportunities there to drive innovation are huge. And I see a lot of customers coming to Microsoft, and I'm sure to Infosys, and really asking how can we accelerate this, whether it's a ECC lift or an S4 transformation. How can we accelerate this so we can start gaining new insights from this data?
So this is wonderful. So you touched upon two important aspects. One was investments, and the other was cost. So can you just briefly talk about how Microsoft Azure, specifically in an SAP's context, is helping enterprise optimize cost and gain agility?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'll start off with some higher level initiatives that are going on, and then I'll throw in a few technical ones because in some cases, some customers are really focused on technical migrations, and some customers they're really focused on more innovative, trying to move to the cloud to enable innovation. So I'm sure you've heard of our Embrace program with SAP and our partners like Infosys. That's really enabled the collaboration between SAP and our partners to bring the best solution to our customers, to collaborate. And I've seen just the collaboration here is incredible. I think some of the customer programs we've worked on together with Infosys just have been brought so much value to our customer. I think the industry roadmaps and the blueprints we're putting together with Infosys and our partners just amazing, and it accelerates the customer's journey to the cloud with S4. I think customers choose us because we have such a deep partnership with SAP, and we are coming together, and we continue to deliver and innovate. And we have since 1989, and the partnership only gets deeper. We run our business on SAP on Azure. SAP runs their business on SAP and Azure. We have some of the most complex workloads out there running on Azure. All these things accelerate transformations for customers because we have built this expertise with our partners. It's just amazing. And automation plays a huge role there. We're really heavily involved with our partners and SAP in automating as much as we can in Azure for both ECC and S4. So from a technical perspective, we've really got a unique offering. We can take things from small environments to very large purpose-built systems and scale like no other cloud vendor can. So really that giving our customers a wide range of options so they can optimize cost and take advantage of really new innovation capability is just huge. I'll give one example. Spinning up a duplicate production environment to test a major change in your environment. Just something that you can't really do that on premise unless you're investing in a lot of hardware. Those types of things, you think about it, and having the flexibility and resources to try things or test things or do things, it's just not possible in a traditional world. Solutions like some of our new capability with NetApp Files and your backup for HANA, our SAP Cloud Platform available on Azure. Those types of things, they all remove some friction and enable customers to take the next step, and that's the innovation side, that's the data side. Reducing that friction, you're not procuring infrastructure, you're configuring services, much different world, helps you really optimize cost and increasing agility in my mind.
So very interesting, Chris, right? You mentioned about reference architecture, industry blueprints, and additional services bundled as part of cloud platform, right? So Embrace is truly giving the customers and compelling business reasons to move to S4. So can you just talk about or highlight few of the things Microsoft is helping customers choose the right adoption path for S4 and the right infrastructure? Because you mentioned about purposeful build, right? So are you referring to the D series, M series, E series of Microsoft Azure Cloud?
Yeah, definitely. So it's a great question. So we're doing a lot, and we're doing a lot with our partners like Infosys. I think the most important thing is laying out the options, guiding them through what's right for their organization. There's a lot of options. I would say there's four big ones, and whether it ranges from lift and shift to greenfield S4. And there's a lot of options in between and a lot of steps in between. So we like to take the approach with our partner really around educating our customers, working on assessments, both technical and even in some cases, the business aspect of it, of working with our partners to help really analyze business process and also from an IT process perspective of if a customer's making a big shift to the cloud, the management of their SAP environment is probably going to change, and it's probably going to impact everything that connects to SAP. So we really have to get deep into some of those things. I think also one of the things that we like to do a lot is customer to customer interactions. And I'm sure you know this all the time. We can get up here and talk about all sorts of things, but really when the rubber hits the road, it's the customer and the success that the customer gets by working with us. And I love to introduce customers to each other and have them talk about their success and how we work together. It really shows how much we obsess over our customers and helping them adopt Azure. It really shows how we obsess over our partner ecosystem. And we also have one thing that really sticks out is the technical skills initiative, where we help customers and enable customers on Azure through training and certification. It's a big initiative at Microsoft, really to help enable a cloud-first workforce. So all those things together, I really think a lot of it boils down to education and getting started with something. Time, cost, involvement of the business, and fear of uncertainty are a few reasons why executives highlight it as part of a risk to move to S4. So can you tell me a little bit about how Infosys Cobalt helps customers address these challenges?
Oh, definitely, Chris. And that's, in fact, I would say one of our value differentiators. And, we have a program within Cobalt called as Innovate for Embrace. And what we have realized is, and conversation with CXOs, more often than not, they are grappling with the thoughts of the coin, right? How do I move to S4, right? And at the same time, how do I get business resiliency as well as accelerate on my innovation, right? Every CXOs, every VP in the SAP's world is grappling with this thought process, right? And we realize at Infosys that, if we look at traditional SAP, ecosystem, everything starts with doing a sandbox. So you are putting your effort, energy, and organization time in trying to experiment something at the sandbox. But can I develop something which will help customers, number one, do anything and everything without doing something at sandbox? And the way we went about is we defined our Safe Passage transition methodology, right? And it focuses on 4 different aspects. Number one, determine what is the path you're going to take, right? So we worked with Microsoft, and we are actually offering a 3 weeks of zero cost assessment for customers. For them who are interested, you mentioned about brownfield or conversion, right? Who are interested in exploring that path, who want to transition to S4 rather than looking at, changing their order to cash or procure to pay in a very large manner, right? It's a 3 weeks of assessment where we work closely with Microsoft and customer and give them, number one, what is going to get impacted because of your move to S4, whether it's custom code, your functionality, your infrastructure, whatnot. We give them the bill of material, what does it look like on Azure, right? How can you further optimize your consumptions and whatnot, right? That's the first aspect. The second is what I say is offset, proof the offset, right? So whatever we have published as part of our report, we can bring it to life. So we, again, with partnership with Microsoft, we offer a very special incentive to customer to do a proof of concept with us on Azure, okay? And third, when the rubber hits the road, right? Accelerating the entire conversion process, right? So again, our tool sets and accelerators, which are actually leveraging, capability from Azure services. So you did mention about Azure services like AI, ML, data, and whatnot, right? So our tools and accelerators are leveraging that to offset the impact and reduce the migration. So these are some of the things we do from a conversion perspective. And from a greenfield or on a business transformation, we have our Infosys Catalyst, again, a part of Cobalt, which is a predefined industry best practices S4 solution running on Azure cloud, right? If you would go to Azure App Store, we have built white spaces solution like smart intelligent order processing or smart warehouse, which is using IoT from Azure, which is using AI ML, because we strongly believe the power of the power of Azure is just not the infrastructure, but the services which is surrounding it. For example, your Power Apps, which is low code, no code, right? It helps customer accelerate the innovation cycle and so on and so forth, right? So that's what which we are seeing at from Infosys perspective, and we are seeing a lot of market momentum with that. And on that note, right, Chris, it's a good segue because I spoke about the services and the Azure ancillary IoT machine learning, and we truly believe the true differentiator of cloud is not below the cloud, which is the infrastructure, but it is above the cloud, which I often refer to the services which Microsoft brings in, the amount of experience, the innovation which Microsoft is bringing to the ecosystem, right? Now, if you would look at, these are net new digital technologies like AI, ML, right? They are bringing an unprecedented wave of change within the ecosystem. At the same time, CXOs, our customers, are, they have a fear of adopting to this, maybe because of the maturity cycle, or you spoke about training, competency, and so on and so forth, right? So how is Microsoft actually helping customers, and with the onset of industry cloud coming in? So how are you working with customers to help them realize the benefits and gains from industry cloud?
Yeah, so I really believe that industry focus is the future of cloud in general. Like you mentioned, it's above the infrastructure layer, and it's above, in a lot of cases it's above certain core application layer. It's the things around it, and really I think deepening the relationship with our customers really feeds into that of what they need, and our partners are a huge piece here as well. But adapting our offerings to fit both business, security, legal requirements, regulatory issues, data sovereignty issues, all sorts of things that are unique to certain industries and certain types of organizations. It's a path we've been on for some time now, and I think the industry specific cloud offerings or cloud solution offerings and services is really like the next phase of that. And I think when you think about SAP, it's the digital core that runs the business. It's where core business processes sit. But in many cases, there are industry specific needs that may exist outside that, and what needs to be accomplished outside that digital core. So we need to be able to support those things, give customers the agility they need, and we need to help our customers continue to innovate inside and outside the core systems, and really, so they can deliver solutions for their customers and their partners. And I think, if you look at what Infosys is doing with Blueprints as part of the overall, Cobalt initiative you mentioned, it's a great example. And we're going to ensure at Microsoft, that we continue to invest and deliver some industry-specific solutions alongside our partners and in Azure. I think it's just the next evolution of where we're going in Azure and in the cloud.
That's great, Chris. So on that note, right? So what is the final advice you would want to pass it on to CXOs who are looking either to move their workloads to Azure, or who are thinking about embracing this S4 journey onto Azure?
Yeah, sure thing. So, I get asked this question a lot. Most of my time is spent with customers making decisions around, ECC and S4 and what to do in the cloud, or how to move certain pieces, or this hybrid approach, which some customers are going down that path. And then the other part of my time is spent internally to make sure that we're able to deliver on solutions that our customers and partners are experiencing pain around. So we know there's a lot of options, and customers know that, CIOs know that, and I would recommend most that they understand their options and talk to us. Let us educate you and your teams about what we're doing. That's where some of this customer to customer interaction can happen. It's also where partner involvement and involving a partner early in the process is good, because we want to make sure that we're in lockstep with SAP early on in the process while we're laying out those options. Because as tight as we can be in our messaging and how we're working together, we need to be lockstep with our partners and talking to customers. And there's plenty of technical drivers behind a migration. However, doing assessments, TCO studies, business justification to get these things done, that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's where involving us early. Like you mentioned, the Infosys assessment, I think it's a great program that can accelerate the journey there. And then as part of that, showing customers, opening the aperture that we can do so much more. Things like unlocking analytics with things like Synapse, Data Lake, Power BI, and enabling citizen development, like you mentioned with Power Apps. We have a wealth of examples and a wealth of customers that are taking advantage of these services. Like I said, they're services. You're not standing up infrastructure for these things, and it's just. I think the most important thing, and it all boils down to this, is assess, migrate, and optimize, and and while going through that process, keeping your eyes open to the things that surround that, and the above the cloud stuff will follow. It's just it's a tough process to go through sometimes because you have a lot of legacy, but we're here to help, and we're here with Infosys to help as well.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks a lot for taking time and speaking to us today. And certainly, you've highlighted why Azure is acting as a force multiplier in SAP ecosystem as well, right? With the Embrace program, with the reference architecture coming in. And I'm very sure that, and one of the incidents which I always talk about to our partners and to our customers is, hey, look, you could use the AI ML from Azure and still co-innovate and innovate on top of SAP, right? You don't have to go and really transform from get-go and so on and so forth, right? So start from small and go big transformation and things like that, right? So thank you for your time and helping us understand the tremendous value and benefits which Azure is offering. As you know, once Einstein said, right, the crisis is the perfect opportunity for something new to happen, right? And I see COVID-19, S4, cloud, all converging together to bring that market momentum which is necessary in the SAP ecosystem, right? And at Infosys, obviously with our Cobalt initiative with Microsoft and SAP, we are trying to create something which will offer agility to businesses, help businesses become resilient, and become the future truly digital enterprise. So I just want to thank everybody, and I hope this session was interesting and you could get some value and insights out of it. Looking forward to hearing from you. Do reach out to us if you have any questions for us. Thank you so much.